Welcome back to the podcast, Total Agent Access. This is a really neat one because today's guest is Kim Holmes, and I have literally been friends with you for over 20 years. And this is the first time in a long time that we've actually chatted, not via text.
I know it's kind of fun, like for anyone listening. Colin was my boss at one of my first jobs. The public's not even there anymore, is it? It's a
No, it is
different.
not.
Okay, so in the restaurant industry, and I remember when you left to get into real estate, like I still remember that. So I just think it's really cool how we've kind of come full circle and we kind of stay in touch over the years and you're really
Yeah.
good at like touching base and we follow each other and but yeah, it's kind of fun to kind of come back to my roots a little bit. So
Yeah.
I'm super excited to chat with you.
And let's first off talk about your roots. Where did you
Yeah.
grow up?
Yeah, so I am born and raised in Prince George. I lived there for 24 years. I think it's kind of funny, like when I was younger, you just want to get out, like you just want to leave. And I was so anxious to leave. But now looking back, like I love Prince George. I love the where I came from. I love the roots of the city. I love everything about there. So I moved down to the Okanagan when I was 25, when I got my real estate license. We
Which
vacationed
seems
here
like
as
last year, really.
yeah,
Let's
it is,
be
right?
honest about
It
it,
is.
right?
And so we always vacationed down here as kids. My dad moved down here first, and it was sort of a natural transition when I was ready to leave Prince George. I came down here and I love it. Like I pinch myself that this is where I get to call home. So many people come here, they vacation here, and it's the most amazing city. But like I said, Prince George is my roots, and I love it there as well. And I'm super grateful of where I came from and all of the people that I'm still connected to there.
What do you like to do in your spare time?
Well, I'm a single mom, so my spare time is a little sparse, but I'm big into hiking. I'm big into kind of the outdoor lifestyle here. I'm 5 minutes from the beach, 5 minutes from hiking trails. So often, if I have like any bit of spare time, that's sort of where you can find me is hiking. I live in wine country, but I'm not much of a drinker, but I do like to go to the wineries and kind of do all the tourist stuff we have as well. But we're lucky, like we just have beautiful four seasons here. So really just kind of getting outside is where my jam is. That's what fills my cup.
You know what? Honestly, I think all of us living out here in British Columbia and the rest of our country and the rest of North America probably will
Hmm.
be chagrined this, but we as British Columbians, we are very lucky to live where we live.
Absolutely. And it's so funny, like when you travel, like you see beautiful places, but it almost like always reminds you of like, wow, we live in the most beautiful place. Like BC is incredible.
It really is, and very diverse. So we touched on it a little bit about what you did before you got into real
Yes.
estate, but
Yeah.
let's open that up a little bit and
Yeah.
tell me about your working life, because most of us, myself included, you too, we sort of had second careers a little bit beforehand. Mine was much more of a career owning restaurants, and I'm a chef by trade, but you worked in restaurants as well with me, and then you moved down to Kelowna
Yeah.
and continued to work in restaurants there when you got your real estate license.
Yeah. So I worked at Sammy J's restaurant. I started working there pretty much as soon as I moved to Kelowna. And I continued working there up until I think I left 3 years into my career in real estate. And I'll kind of touch on that a little bit later. But like it's the service industry, and I know you and I have had this conversation, like there's so many qualities and things that I learned from being a server that I think serve you so well going into the real estate business.
I agree.
There's so many things, like anytime that person is sitting at your table or sitting at your bar, it's like you're trying to make that experience for them. You're wanting to remember them, you're wanting to connect with them. And I think like that really like getting to like dive in with people, having those conversations, remembering them, making it a good experience, and also, the hustle and bustle of serving. Like there's so many intricacies that happen to make it seem like a smooth experience for, the customer. So I think like it really kind of gives you like a good foot. And both of the younger girls on our team have both been servers. And I have been like such a big advocate of it from the beginning because I feel like it's an awesome way to build so many skills that transfer over. So I'm
Not
super
only
proud
that,
of it.
yeah, it's a fantastic way to meet people.
Yeah, like, and so many of my clients that I met in the beginning were from the restaurant, and they might have known that I was brand new, but they knew their experience with me in that atmosphere. So they had confidence in who I was and, what I would do for them, just knowing how I maybe served them at the restaurant. And like, what it's like you get the same people that are always coming back to the
Yeah,
restaurant. So the same people get to know you and they become fans of you and they're excited for this next chapter of your life and they're excited to support you. And I'm like, I still go to Sammy J's. Like I love that. I think it's great. Yeah.
amazing. So at that point, what drew you to becoming a real estate agent?
So my stepmom at the time was a realtor. So when I moved to the Okanagan, I wasn't sure what I was going to do right away. I knew I was going to need to do something. I had been teaching dance for many years. It's what I did in Prince George. But I loved it. It was a passion, but I knew that financially it wasn't going to be, unfortunately, what I was going to do forever. And so it was really my stepmom in the beginning. She was doing really well. I started to really kind of see, okay, this is a really cool career. I can have my own freedom. I can kind of make a difference in people's lives. You get to be part of this really exciting process with them. And I'm such a busy person that it was like no 2 days are going to be the same. You're always going to be challenged. You're always going to be learning. So I think it was kind of my stepmom's experience looking into it myself and thinking like, okay, I really like people. I've been serving for years. Like this feels like this is like a natural step for me that I'll be able to, yeah, like dive in and see. And obviously you go into it with rose-colored glasses and you think, this is going
For
to be
sure.
wonderful. And you quickly learn it's very humbling in the beginning, but I'm still here. So yeah, yeah.
That's great. So, we've all had them. Share with us your worst moment in real estate and tell us that story and tell us what you learned from it.
Yeah. So I think everyone, like you said, everyone has a worse moment. And I was trying to think because I probably have two situations that I'm like, oh, those still make me kind of sweat. I think the first one was we had met this amazing couple, my business partner and I, at the gym, and they had a beautiful luxury home that they had been unsuccessful selling with another agent. It wasn't the greatest market. Who knows what the factors were. So they brought us on. We were going to list the property and we were super excited. Beautiful home, beautiful area. And they'd done a massive renovation. So they had done like, top to bottom, everything was stunning, new, whatever. One of our business practices, which I'm sure is yours as well, is we always make sure we get a copy of the city file so that we know permits, zoning, anything that's
Yeah.
going to happen with the
You
property.
you have to
You
know
have
what
to.
you're
Yeah.
selling.
Yes, exactly. So here can take 5 or 6 days sometimes to get the city file, and we have to have the listing contract signed to get the city file. So long story short, I get the request in for the city file, and we, one of those kind of luck situations, end up getting an offer right away. And we get this offer accepted, and I'm stoked. I'm really happy. They've been trying to sell. And we get the city file back, and I'm like skimming through it, and I'm like, it's really strange. There's no permits in here. Like, I know that they've done like massive renovations. They've hired a contractor, they've done new gas lines, electrical, like they've done a ton of work. And we're dealing with a very A-type buyer, which is great on the other side. So I called the agent. At first I asked my clients, like, did you guys get all of this work permitted? They're like, yeah, we hired this contractor, the name, and everything was done with permits. And I'm like, okay, it's super strange there's nothing in the city file. Do you mind, trying to track them down? I'll see what I can do on my end. So in the meantime, we're in subject removal period, right? So I've got to give the city file to the agent. I have a call. Pressure's on. I call him. I'm like, hey, Darcy, like, you're not going to see any permits in there, but I'm on it. I'm like, let me figure out what's happened. Maybe for some reason the city doesn't have it or whatever. So to make a very long story short, we uncovered that there was no permits pulled for whatever reason. And they had hired a professional contractor. And like I said, this was not just moving a sink. This was like exterior stairs, added gas line, blowout walls, kitchen, electrical. Like, it was intense.
Wow.
And
when you said that, I just felt my stomach drop a little bit
Yeah.
because I know that where you're like, oh no, this whole thing's going to go up in flames here.
And it was a market where, you're not getting an offer every day.
Yeah.
And we had an amazing buyer's agent, an amazing buyer on the other side that were willing to be like, okay, what can we do here? And my clients were amazing, but they were overwhelmed. A lot of people don't understand. They've hired someone, they think everything's done properly. They have no idea. Like, they just don't know, right? So I'm like, okay, you guys, we need to try to get this house permitted. But I know, and the city needs to check things like gas and electrical when walls are open, and I'm
stairs put in.
Yeah, but I'm trying to tell them, like, it's going to be okay. So I got them to compile a list of all of the trades they had used. And I basically told my girls in the team, like, this is my focus for the next 5 days. So I called every single trade and I basically was like, look, I don't know what happened. I don't know why a permit wasn't pulled, but we absolutely need a permit pulled for gas, for plumbing, for renovation. I think there was a pool heater that was done. Like, it was a whole list of things. And of course, like, some of the trades were like, it's really challenging. This was done in the work might have done in 2017. I think it was like 2019 at this point, whatever. And I'm like, I don't care what you have to do. We need to get this done because these buyers are not going to move forward. And not only that, it's going to be a defect that we now need to disclose. We need to get this pulled together. So long story short, I, managed to get all of the trades to resubmit permits. A lot of them had pictures they were able to trace pictures of the work that they had done. I called the city. I met with the city inspector. He came out. I walked the property with him. I was able to show him a lot of the stuff. It was like, anyway, it was a huge thing. But we ended up getting the house fully permitted, getting everything signed off, and the deal went through, and it was amazing. But it was one of the most stressful, it was very stressful.
5 days of your life.
Yeah. 5 days of my life.
And we all know how fast, any city management works, or any contractor or trades or anything like that. And you're out there hustling and going well beyond what many would do to keep it together.
Exactly. And that's the thing, like, like, you have to be creative. You have to be willing to pivot, and you have to be willing to kind of step into jobs that are not necessarily what we do traditionally, but it's like, you have to get things done. And sometimes we are that middle person that is just like, okay, what do we got to do here?
Yeah. Well, you are the quarterback on the team, and you have to either run with the ball or pass the ball. You have to do all of those things. The ball is always in your court as a real estate agent. And that is where some shine and some don't.
Yeah. And you have to work under pressure, right? Like, your clients are depending on you, and like, you got to make it happen. You got to deliver, right? So, yeah.
So if you could give yourself advice when you first started, what would you say and why?
I think you have to, and I mean, I guess I still think this today, like, you have to stay resilient, persistent. I think you always have to focus on, like, training, education, growing. And I think it's really important, and I'm a firm believer in this, and it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I think having a team and having a mentor and having that support, for me, for my life, has been so crucial. And I joined a team from day one. So that's all I've ever known. But I think the benefit of being on a team, having a mentor, having those tools that someone can share with you. You're not starting from scratch. You have the support. You might be brand new, but if someone's on your team, they can say, yeah, I'm brand new, but look at who I've got supporting me. So I think when you're starting out, it's not having that ego because you're not going to know it all. Like 12 years later, I still don't know it all. You're always learning.
Yeah.
And I think realizing that I think that there's strength in numbers. And when you're on a team, there's different strengths that everyone brings. I tell anyone that's starting out, like, I think that's such a big part. And you have to be a little bit obsessed. You have to be disciplined. You have to want it because there's no one that's saying, get up and go to work. Like, how many calls did you make today? Did you do that? Like, there's no one. So if you are not determined and you don't have that like motivation to just get up and get going, it's not gonna work out.
That you
So
are completely right. I've
yeah.
been selling for over 18 years now, and I have mentors. I
Mhm.
have a coach.
Same. Yeah.
And like literally I have like five mentors if you come to
Yeah.
think of it, people that I lean on and pick their
Hmm.
brain and use it kind of like a company board, right, that you go
Yeah.
to and talk. And I think that's so crucial. Another thing that you mentioned about putting the ego away, I have found a lot of people, they all want to do everything themselves.
Yeah.
They want
And
to
you,
be the big agent right out of the gate, year one. They
mhm.
want to be that person. And I'm like you. I get on a team, get on somewhere where you'll have somebody beside you showing you along the way and making it
Mhm.
easier until you feel like you're ready if you want to go the solo route, or you can just stay on the team.
Yeah, and like I'm a big believer in like there's room for everyone. I'm always open to sharing with people. I'm not one of those people that's like, "Oh, I'm not going to tell them what we do." Like I truly think there's room for everyone in this business that wants to put in the work. And yeah, like I think if you are really open to learning and having mentors, you can only get better. And we are always learning. It's such a fast changing industry that like that's the beauty of it. We're always learning. So you have to be open to that. And I think that's like really what's helped me. And I think that's what my advice would be for anyone.
Yes, very much like you, I operate from a place of abundance.
Yes. Yeah.
I tell everybody, you just ask, and I will tell you
Yes.
exactly what I do for marketing, what we do on our team to take care of buyers, take care of sellers, what's our routines, what's our schedules like. All you need to do is ask. I'll tell you
Hmm.
everything. I am not the type of person that comes from a place of scarcity because I, like you, believe that there is enough for everybody.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. Me
So
too.
again, on the positive note, not on this on the scary thing, we've all had one of these as well. Where the moment it all clicked in our business, where it all made sense, and you gained that sense of clarity. Tell us your aha moment, that moment that sticks with you and helps push you forward.
I mean, I think for me, and if I really think about it, like I mentioned before, like when you get into this business, it's very hard. There's nothing easy about the beginning. There's a lot of ups and downs. There's a lot of doubt if you're going to make it. Especially, I found I was young, I was 25. So, a lot of people don't take you seriously. And, I was working at the restaurant 4 or 5 nights a week till 2 in the morning. And I was getting up, getting into the office. And that's just what I did for 3 years. And I still remember at the time going, as soon as I can consistently sell one house a month, I just needed to sell one house a month consistently for 6 months. I felt like I can give up the restaurant business. And it's not because I necessarily like wanted to. I just kind of had that goal for myself that like I want to be able to dive into this. And I remember when I hit that mark of like, I was selling one house a month and it was 6 or 7 months. And, things just start happening and you can like feel the trajectory kind of going up. And I was so scared. And I still remember my boss at Sammy J's just being like, Kim, go, like, you're ready to fly. Like, I don't want you to leave, but I'm so excited for you.
That's so
And it was
nice to
like,
have that support.
yeah. And like on the other side of that fear of like quitting that safety net of that money, it was like as soon as I let it go, business just started to really come. And that's when things just really started to pick up. So I think for me, if I think back, like that's my aha moment when I was really able just to go, okay, like I'm at a place now. And like I said, every agent will be different. For me, it was like I just needed to sell one house a month. And then I was comfortable and I just dove in, and kind of the rest is history, really.
That's a really good benchmark to look at,
Mhm.
is one home a month. All also depending on your market.
Yes.
Your market
Yeah.
is much more expensive
Yeah.
than mine. I think
Yeah.
mine I would have to do, two, maybe three a month to feel
Yeah.
comfortable.
Yeah.
But
Now it's changed, but yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
totally, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but for anybody that's listening that's new and you're going from part-time to full-time, that's a really good benchmark. Like, look at how much you need in income in your
Hmm.
life, look how much you make, and then if you can do that for 6 months, you're probably ready to
Hmm.
be full-time in the real estate game. So um
Yeah.
can you open up your toolbox and share with our listeners, what are your marketing secrets? This is coming from a place of abundance. What has worked for you when you first started, and what is working for you right now?
Yeah. And I mean, I think we are very diverse. And I am a firm believer that there are so many new tools that are being introduced that are so important that we adapt to. Obviously, social media is a huge one. Video, I mean, it's free and it's the biggest avenue to get out there. We've just hired a social media company. It's something that we are looking to grow. Every time I go on social media and I watch your videos and I watch so many other agents, like it's such an incredible way to connect with people, with agents, give out valued information, and it's free. Like we have this crazy, crazy tool that is free. So that is a big part of kind of where our focus is really turning now. But at the same time, we do also believe and still very firmly are very much back to basics team. Doesn't matter what kind of market we're in, we have 5 or 6 tools that we religiously use that are very old school. We still send out and door knock and do just solds, just listed. Every weekend, we're doing open houses. We are really pulling on expireds, for sale by owners. One of our team members, her name is Alex. She used to own a student paintworks company. So Student Paintworks, they go door to door, they knock on your door. So she is ingrained in her mind to do door knocking. So she is absolutely incredible. So I can say to her, hey, I've got this amazing new listing in this neighborhood. If I print you off 150 flyers, will you go and drop them? Yes, she will drop flyers for us probably 5 days a week. So we will find those opportunities within our market, whether we're looking for a buyer, we have an open house coming up. So we are kind of a blend of like old school and then trying to bring in, a lot of the new stuff as well. But I do think a lot of the old techniques still work today. And there's a lot of people that just aren't doing them. It's not their comfort zone, or it doesn't necessarily fit their business model. And we are really big too at like volunteering and being involved in our community. And that's a big way of how we get business, just really authentically through being involved. We'll sponsor a lot of kids tournaments, coach kids teams for different sports. Just try to get out there and support as many community members, business members as we can. And it's like reciprocity, it comes back to you. So I would say the marketing of us is a little bit of everything. And again, having a team, we are able to kind of like divide and conquer based on whose personality and what fits what. And it allows us to kind of do all these different things at once. And it's great.
Everybody has a different zone of genius, and some
Yeah.
people just love to get out there and pound the pavement,
Yes.
and kudos to them, because that's hard. But there's no straighter line to the money than face to face with people.
Totally. And we are very like Buffini, I like to say. Like, we are very belly to belly, repeat and referral. Like, we track our business very diligently through Follow Up Boss. And we are over like 70% repeat and referral. So that's where we are putting our bread and butter. That's where we're spending our time in front of our people. And that's why I think it is super important, to use a CRM to track your business, because if you don't know where it's coming from, and you don't know where your success is, then sometimes you're just trying to figure out what you're going to do. And there's so much that you can be doing, but you also want to just make sure that you're not just dropping pins everywhere and hoping something sticks, right?
Oh,
So,
exactly. That was my
yeah.
mandate this year with a team.
Yeah.
I love shiny objects. I think I've said that on
Yeah.
this podcast before, and I get distracted really easily on shiny object syndrome. And I said, you know what? This year we are going to basics.
Yeah.
We also use Follow Up Boss.
Yeah.
Uh, I love it.
I
I
love
love
it too.
Follow Up
Me
Boss.
too.
It
Yeah.
is it is like the center of our
Yeah.
team, and everything that we do is tracked, and it's amazing. It's
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah. It's one of those things that we have tried a lot of CRMs. I would highly suggest, if you're listening to this and you haven't tried Follow Up Boss, I think it's the best one. And it can feel daunting to start organizing your business, but what it can do for you and how organized you can be, yeah, you need to do it.
Yeah, we have ours literally set up that when the sales team comes in, they start on the left-hand side column. They
Mhm.
work their way to the right, making
Yeah.
phone calls, text messages, and emails. And it takes them about 2 hours a day, which is a good prospecting time.
Yes. Yeah.
And then they're done. And then they've cleaned up what they need to do today. And then our back end admin staff is in the background, myself included, and just tracking where everything's going and where everything's coming. It is a beautiful, beautiful CRM.
Hmm.
So success doesn't come easy. For most of us, we sacrifice time for success. How do you keep your work-life balance as a single mom? And what what advice could you share?
Yeah, I mean, like, does anyone have balance? It
Nope.
is something, no, I know. It
Nope.
is something that I am very conscious of. And I think the most important things are, you have to be very, very good at time blocking. Like, my days are time blocked. Like, the entire week is pretty much time blocked, every Saturday, Sunday for the week. I know pretty much if someone calls me where I can fit them in, where in my days. And I have my non-negotiable time in there as well. Like, I need to pick my kids up from daycare, after school care by 5 o'clock. And I know from 5 until I get them ready for bed at 7:30, I have very limited time available. So I am really conscious of my schedule. I'm really, really good at scheduling. I know my non negotiable times. And I think also, as you get more experience, you just become a little bit more comfortable. If a client reaches out to me and I know that it's during my son's hockey or something else is going on, a lot of times you get in your head about, how is the client going to respond if I'm not available? Are they going to go find someone else? I think it's all about setting the expectation, offering them alternate, options. Hey, I've got a commitment at that time, but would such and such day or such and such day work for you? Or I can't be there, but my team member who you've met, she can show you the property. She'll call me after. I'll call you. So I think it's about making sure that your clients don't run your schedule. You run your schedule. You have to be assertive. And I know I've said this many times, but this is, again, the beauty of a team. We make sure that all of our clients meet at least two of us, so that if someone is away, if someone has something going on and I need to bring someone else in, they're not like, who is this person? I don't know them. So we make sure that they are very connected to at least two of us. And it allows us to have a life. I want my girls on our team to be able to go, out on a movie, or if they go away on vacation for the weekend. I want that. I don't want people to feel like they have to do this 24/7. I want us to be able to have that balance. And I think your clients understand that. Like, they will understand it, right? You attract what you kind of put out. So I think if you are putting out that, you're going to attract those type of clients.
I really believe that in our heads, we think that the client is going to run from us. They're going to go
Yeah.
find somebody else, but they really don't. If you set up that expectation ahead of time, they understand that we have lives as well and that we're not available 24/7. And
Yeah.
like you said, always, if you're not available, give them a couple options. And if you're on a team, that is excellent advice. Always make sure that each client knows two people on the team.
Yeah, it's like we have group texts, like that from the very beginning, two of us are involved with everything. That way the client is totally comfortable. They don't feel like they need to retell any story when they're dealing with the next person. And it makes it so seamless. Like if Krista calls a client and then I call them the next day, they're not confused about why there's two of us. They feel actually more supported. They feel like they have more people kind of on board with them. So I
That they
feel
have
like
the full
again,
team supporting them.
yeah. And I always tell my team, like, if a client is going to leave you, you're not showing your value. So I feel like if they believe in your value, what you're offering, how you operate your business, they're going to stay with you. They're going to understand, like, if you have something where you're not available, like they're going to understand.
I fully agree. What is the one thing that has you most excited about the future of your real estate business?
I think so much. We're at a really, really good place. We have intentionally, really tried to grow organically for my own reasons. We don't want to be too big of a team. There's 5 of us total with 2 admin. And we've really cultivated like just an amazing culture, even really stepping into a bit of a mentor role with some of our newer agents. Like it's just very, very exciting for me to see them grow, to start to see them getting these levels of success. And I think, as you know, with this business, like it's endless. What you put into it, you will continue to get. So I think just seeing the growth that we've had year over year, the number of clients we're able to help, the experience and the fun, it just makes me excited. I'm excited to see where we can go and I'm excited for the industry and like I'm super passionate about it. So I think the sky is the limit.
I love one thing that you said, the fun.
Yeah, like it's
I think it's
fun.
something that a lot of people forget.
Yeah.
Fun is at the top
Yes.
of
Yeah.
what we're about, because if you're not
Yeah.
having a good time at
No.
work,
Yeah.
then what's the point of doing it, right? Life
Exactly. And
is
we always
way
say
too short.
it's way too short. And I always, every time we sit with a client, I'm like, you guys, this is going to be fun. Like, it's going to be fun. And they might not know all the fires that we're dealing with in the background sometimes,
And that's
but
good.
like,
It's
and
a good
that's
thing.
good.
They don't need to know.
They don't need to know. And I think that that's the fun. Like, it's a really, really fun business. And I don't know about you, but like when I write in a contract, I still have that same excitement that I probably had the first contract I did. Like it's a buzz. It's like a high. You're excited for your clients. Like it's
I actually
so
think I get
fun.
more excited now because I was
Yeah.
full on
Yeah.
nervous
That's true. Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
beginning. And
Yeah.
now I'm like, oh man, this is
Yeah.
great. I get to do this, and
Yeah.
I get to do this as a career and I get to help people. And that,
Yeah.
for me, that's what drives me is, I get to help people.
Yeah.
It's the
It's a
servant's heart,
privilege.
right? So
Yeah.
we have given a ton of value already on this podcast, but give our listeners 3 actionable takeaways that you think every agent should be doing in their business right now.
Yeah, I would say the number one thing that has grown our business in a different sector that we hadn't thought about. So I would say it's been 5 years now that my business partner and I have been extremely active in attending conferences and really trying to go to as much networking as we can, outside of BC. We'll go to kind of any conferences that we can make it to. And a lot of people will say, like, I don't understand, like you're spending all this money to go like sit with other agents, but the amount of referral business that we have now coming in from agents all over the country is incredible. We probably have at least one referral every 2 weeks from an out of town agent. whether it's Ottawa, Toronto, Winnipeg, because we have spent 5 years now really cultivating these relationships, really networking, really having these, like, we have online chats with lots of different agents where I'll be like, hey, I'm struggling with this listing. Do you guys have any advice of like what would be something new I could do with this or this team member situation? Or I think it's just the value of realizing that there's so much that's even more outside of your own market. And when people think of Kelowna, I want them to think, oh, Kim and Krista, their team, that's who I want to send clients to. And we're blessed. We live in the Okanagan. A lot of people move here and relocate here. So I think that relocation and that attending conferences and extending that realtor sphere has been game changer for us.
I couldn't agree more. I go to at
Yeah.
least 2 a year.
Yeah, for sure, right? Like they're fun. Again, it's
Oh,
fun.
great time.
Yeah. And I know we already touched on this, but just like you said, like I think a step is like just get back to the basics. The basics work. If you're in your business and you're kind of like, okay, I don't know what to do next, like how can I spin some business? Like doing open houses, finding some top agents in your office saying, hey, like, do you have a listing that I could go drop flyers for? Or do you have a buyer that you can't find inventory for? We have our agents, so we print off like anyone that sold with us basically the last like 3 years ago. We printed off all of those people. Our girls are doing complimentary CMAs for them, letting them know what their house is worth today, what's going on in their market. We're getting those hand delivered to them because, again, like that's a client of ours who bought 5, 4, 3 years ago. We know they have equity in their home now based on the market. Things might have changed. And that's just another touch, right? Like we've
Yeah.
had them be like, hey, you know what? I've been thinking about you. Thank you for sending this. We've actually been thinking about moving. We're outgrowing our house now. So sometimes it's just like going back to your database, or if you don't have a big enough database, reaching out to an agent who's maybe too busy to nurture that database and finding out like, what can you do to kind of spin some business from that. There's always opportunities if you sit down and you just think about the business that you've had, doing Popeyes, doing home anniversary, all that kind of stuff. And then I think the last one is get on video, right? Like get on video, deliver market stats, talk about a new development, talk about a business you like, do anything, right?
Yeah.
People like to connect with someone that they feel connected with. People in your market probably look at your social media before they hire you. And same with us. Like they want to know who you are because at the end of the day, there's so many agents. We all do the same thing. We all are, amazing. But sometimes what it comes down to is the connection and who you are and what you're about. And I think getting on video and social media, it's just this crazy way that people can see who you are.
Yeah, it's actually really funny. We get a lot of traffic with our YouTube
Mm-hmm.
channel, and people will meet me and talk to me like I've been their friend
Yeah.
for years when we just met them, and they feel that they already know me and
Yeah.
know
I
a
love
lot
that.
about me and my
Yeah.
my opinions on restaurants, and they ask me, what's the best this or whatever. They already have that relationship with you, and
Yeah.
you're just taking that relationship and deepening that and moving them along the track to getting them into a great place.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
So what do you see in the future for organized real estate? What are our challenges?
Obviously, AI is changing the landscape of real estate tremendously. I think it's really important to realize AI is here, it's coming, and in order for it not to kind of overtake the human connection, we're trying to find ways to utilize it in our business, but also make sure that we're not losing kind of those, personal touches. But AI is here. It's definitely going to change the future of real estate, I think, in a lot of ways. And for the Okanagan specifically, like a lot of our challenges are the government changes. We are a tourist city. Like that's what we are. And I don't know if you guys have a lot of that in Prince George, but the Airbnb changes where people will no longer be able to Airbnb a lot of their properties. We had 16 or 17 buildings built primarily for this, zoned for this. I myself bought 2 pre-sales to do short-term rentals in that are closing in the fall that I'll no longer be able to operate as short-term rentals. So I think these government changes, they're really, really impacting our market. There's going to be new flipping taxes, all these things, right? It's just, it's really hard. It's creating a lot of difficulties in our market, a lot of challenges, and we're just kind of having to pivot and adapt. And I think that's kind of at the core here for sure.
Good to know. So you
Yeah.
touched a little bit about charities
Mm.
and your community.
Mhm.
What I found is that realtors are generally a really giving bunch. What are you doing to give back to your community?
Yeah, one of the things that I love about Royal LePage is they have the Royal LePage Shelter Foundation. So what it is, it's a foundation that they formed, and it's supporting women's violence and shelter prevention programs. So what I do, a couple things. So a portion of every one of my commission checks is donated to the Royal LePage Shelter Foundation, and they partner with the local women's shelters in all of the communities. So the Kelowna Women's Shelter. So I'm really proud. I was top 1% donor in Canada for 20.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's a super worthy cause.
Yeah. And then by every 2 years, they do what's called a shelter trek, where you apply for, they take 100 agents across Canada, and they always go to these very remote areas. So I just went to Ecuador in November, and you hike for 5 days. We have to spend all the money to get there, and we raise money, and 100% of the money we raise goes to our local shelter and the Royal LePage Shelter Foundation. So I raised $11,000 for that as well. So I'm presenting a check to the women's shelter next week.
Amazing.
So I'm
Good for
really excited
you.
about that. But yeah, I think it's important. And whether it's money or time, like again, it's like getting out in your community, volunteering. If your kids are in sports, like get involved, like be involved as much as you can in your community. I think it's really important. And I think people really appreciate that. And it makes them think of you. If someone's looking for a realtor, they're like, oh, I know Kim. Like she sponsors my son's hockey team. And, so I think it's really, really important to find ways that you can give back, even if it's your time. If it's not money, it can be time.
And even outside of any sort of future business that may come of it. I think it's just really important because doing stuff out in your community really fills the tank.
100%.
Right?
It makes you feel really, really good. Yeah.
I fully agree. So are you ready? Are you ready for the rapid fire round?
I think so. Okay.
You gotta adjust yourself in your seat and get ready here. Okay, they're gonna come at you fast and furious. Actually, they're kind of long-winded. Number one, what is the one piece of technology that you just can't do without, and why? But you can't say MLS or cell phone, and we've already talked about follow-up boss.
I'm gonna say Canva. I don't know if you guys use Canva. We use Canva.
Bet we do.
We use Canva for everything. And yeah, I think it's great. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. There's going to be a template on Canva.
What is the best book you've ever read and why?
I listen to a lot of podcasts when I'm driving. I have listened to and read this book a couple times. Don't Split the Difference by Chris Voss. I think it's just got great negotiating skills. It's an easy read and listen, and I think it's got a lot of value.
Really great book. I have it somewhere behind me or maybe over in another direction, not on camera. So what is the best business advice you've ever received?
I think it's something that is still, to my core, and it is one of our core values is like, we are relational, we are not transactional. Like I'm people, I'm here to help you. It's not about the transaction. And I think when you carry your business that way, it shines through.
Imagine you woke up tomorrow morning in a brand new world that's identical to Earth. You know no one. You still have all the experience and knowledge you currently have. Your food and shelter is taken care of. But all you have is a laptop and $500. What would you do to resurrect your real estate business in the next 7 days?
Oh, that's a hard one. I think probably things I don't want to do. I would probably print a whole bunch of flyers, and I would hit the pavement, and I would go door knocking. Honestly, I would go door knocking. I would do open houses. Assuming we have social media in that world, I would fire up my social media and start posting as many videos as I can. But really, I would just be trying to get in front of as many people as I can.
Post videos or record videos while you're knocking doors,
While you're 100, yes, yes,
right?
yes, yes.
Get both of them going. And that
Yeah,
again goes back to what we were talking about. The
yeah,
straightest line to the money
yeah, yeah.
is belly to belly. Before we let you go, got the last one here. Give us a quote that has guided you in your life, and then we will say goodbye.
I mean, there's so many good quotes, but I think like do something you love and it's never going to feel like work. And that's how I feel about real estate. So, and I can tell you do too. So I
I
think,
love it. It's a
yeah,
huge part of my life. Changed
yeah,
my life, to be
yeah,
perfectly
same,
honest. So
same, absolutely,
big part
absolutely.
of this podcast, we love for people to listen and send referrals to people that have been on. We want to create a really amazing referral network. If somebody has a referral going into Kelowna, or somebody that's in Kelowna that wants to sell, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so our business page is McDermott Homes. So on Instagram at McDermott Homes. Call me, email me. I can send you my contact, obviously, to attach onto here. But if you Google McDermott Homes and Associates, you'll find us there. And I would love to handle your referrals. We serve Big White, Lake Country, West Kelowna, Kelowna, and Peachland. So a lot of the central Okanagan area.
Beautiful part of the world. We will have
Yes.
all your contact information on in the show notes for this podcast. So if you are listening, you can get a hold and take a look at the show notes, and you can get a hold of Kim that way. Kim, thank you very much. This has been nothing but extraordinary, and you've given us
Yes.
so much value that I hope that somebody that's listening to this will hear it, and they will be able to elevate their business as well. So thank you once again. It's been wonderful to connect with you. Take
Thank you,
care.
Colin. Thank you so much. Bye.